We have a new act coming out soon. I've been meaning to get to this one and another one. There's a lot of things I like about it. Vantage point, the Onslaught 390 RPM pulse rifle, and this particular weapon is one that's been letting me clear out my vault a little bit, deleting some weapons because it can do what they do just a little bit better. It has some really good things, and as a matter of fact, what it does is something new and rare, and that alone is worth it. So if you're playing, there's definitely something to look for. PvP, it has a couple things. It's a little bit behind. Regardless, there is one thing I love about it. PvE, really good. You know, there's only 3 arc adaptives in the game. This, the Geon 7, and 3rd Axiom. And out of all the arc pulses in the game, only 3 apply Jolt, aside from this. Tactic Spiral, High Impact Pulse, Slow Reload, Oversoul Edict, Raid Weapon, and then Corrasion, which is awesome. It's a heavy burst. Then we have Vantage Point, and compared to some other popular 390s, again, kind of behind. That's okay though, most weapons have really good things that can overcome that. This one does. Combos. It starts off with the origin trait, Dark Ether Reaper. Final blows periodically spawn Dark Ether charges. They detonate when you shoot them or run into them, and after you do shoot them or walk into them, it overflows. There's a cap though. I mean, I have a 45 magazine here with backup mag. It goes to 81. They deal a small amount of damage too, but the best part is in these high density areas, you can find and shoot these all the time, and you're not gonna have to reload. More on that later, because to me, that's a huge part of the weapon. It's what makes it really special. It has a play loop. And the third, Closing Time. Great perk, but I'm not the biggest fan of it on primaries, especially these larger mag ones with a little bit slower rate of fire or a midline rate of fire. On a low mag or a fast rate of fire, sure, but kind of awkward on this, especially with the origin trait. You're never going to get to Closing Time. PvP, it has a little bit of play. I'll talk about it. Keep away. PvP, great. PvE, you have that 30 reload and accuracy that it gives. It's all right. Stats for all. Tide is one of the best for PvE. I'm going to have a breakdown in a moment when it comes to pairings. Deconstruct, another way to keep that mag going. It can refill, do a little bit more damage. Barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, vehicles, things like that. To the Pain, I hate it on a weapon like this. It's PvP focused, this weapon. You take damage, you get a lot of aim assist and handling, but if you stow it, the buff goes away. Don't recommend. Lone Wolf, now we're talking. 10 aim assist, 10 AE and accuracy. It doubles when you're 15 meters and away from teammate. But the best part, double targeting in Lone Wolf gets this thing to 85 aim assist. Then you have accuracy added in. Very, very good. It's a black hole for headshots. Eddy Current. I love this perk. While amplified, the reload's like a frame faster than Outlaw, but you just run for a second, you get 20 reload, handling scalar, reload scalar. When amplified, it gets better, and you get 60 reload, and that's gonna max your reload with the scalar. I love it. The final column, Jolting Feedback. This is a new one on very few weapons. You get multiple hits, you're gonna get Jolt on something. So for this pulse rifle, you need 15 hits, which is 5 bursts. But remember, it doesn't have to be on the same target. There's a cooldown between hits, so you can go from target to target, add to add. 15th hit, that 5th burst, is going to be a jolt, so you can just jolt adds. Or you can lay into a yellow bar, apply jolt to them, then switch to a heavy GL. But the base perk, after you jolt something, there is a cooldown, and that's where amplified comes in. When you're amplified, it comes out on the 11th bullet, so 4 bursts. And that's a big difference, believe it or not. And also, while you're amplified, it's literally every 11th bullet. So especially for ad clear, it's jolt all the time. There's no cooldown for jolt. So being amplified is huge for it. We have one for all. Not ever bad. Hit 3 targets, 35% more damage. High impact reserves. It's interesting. It's a PvP perk. 390s are right on the edge of a 2 burst always. They need a little bit of help. At the end of the magazine, this gets there. The bottom half of the mag can 2 burst, and more on that in a little bit. Desperado, PvP centered. Get a headshot final blow, reload, you get a faster RPM. Now, on some weapons, Desperado is faster than Kill Clip. On these, it is not, because you're always going to need the 3rd burst. It takes the base TTK from a 0.93 to a 0.73, which is okay, but I don't see value here. Focus Fury. I was excited about this for PvP for a second, because ideally, if you can find a Dark Ether charge to shoot, get that magazine to 60, 70, 80, you're going to get Focus Fury no problem. You can 2-tap for days. But that Dark Ether charge doesn't really drop. Not really worth it. PvE though, that's cool. You're going to have a ton of charges. You're going to get 20% more, but honestly, one for all is going to be better. It just is. Swashbuckler, this is a sleeper for it, PvP-wise, because out of all the damage perks, Desperado, yeah, there's a TTK shift, but it requires a 3rd burst. High Impact Reserves, going to take some work. Focus Fury, going to take a lot of work. One for all, no. But with 1 stack, so you just get a kill, go to your next target. Swashbuckler 1, you can 2 burst, and that's the 0.6. That's valuable, but is it worth it? I'll talk about it in the PvP section. Headseeker, goated on any pulse. Hit a body shot, crits do a little bit more damage, and you get aim assist. You get accuracy help. Really, really good perk. I'm first going to start with PvE. That's its main place. There's an odd roll that they give you, which is stats for all Volt Shot. That's probably a mistake. Volt Shot doesn't even roll on this thing. You do not want this. It goes against what you want to do with it. I've seen 3 people that I played with, one of my friends, the other was just in activities, that fully enhance this roll. Please don't do that, because as I walk through this, I'm going to be talking about the origin trait, and this thing gets to 60, 70, 80 rounds. You can't even reload it to get Volt Shot. So that's why I believe that this thing really starts with jolting feedback. No matter what, a built-in overload stun on a legendary weapon is a big deal. It is. That's valuable. I got the main one that I wanted, Eddy Current Jolting Feedback. Both perks work best when amplified. I'm on a Prismatic Thunder Crash Titan, get amplified. When I need to reload, it's going to be there. It's Outlaw. A little bit faster. But Eddy Current, you're also getting juiced handling, a ton of scalars, stow speed, ready speed, aimed on sight speed. But ideally, in an ad-dense area, you're shooting everything. Jolt's going to come out. If you get amplified, every 4th burst. It's a big part of the weapon, because the full package is with the origin trait. It's what makes this weapon shine. Again, amplified is better. You just lay down the trigger, apply Jolt everywhere that you can. When the ether balls come up, shoot them. It bypasses reloads. With jolting feedback, it's really snappy. And if you ever do need to reload, which you will, it's extremely fast. But like I said, ideally, you never reload. Keep laying down the trigger, apply Jolt, see the ether charges, shoot one, refill the mag, shoot everything, apply Jolt, and keep going. It's really nice. And stats for all is really good here too. Obviously, you don't need to be amplified. You get 35 handling and reload, or reload scalar, but the handling scalar isn't there. But for me, I believe that being amplified with jolting feedback is really, really good, and this is a great pairing for it, but it can be switched out. There's no wrong answer. These are the main 2 to look for. I mean, there's also stats for all, one for all, maybe keep away jolting feedback for a little bit of reload, but that's where the value is. I love that it stuns overloads. I love that it has a perk that you don't need to reload to apply Jolt. And I love that you can keep refreshing the mag and the mag's overflowed. It's a really, really good weapon. PvP-wise, it has some good things, but it has some issues. This perk combination right here is one of my favorite combos in the game. Lone Wolf Headseeker, and I've never used a weapon like this in Destiny, ever. Ever, ever. So if you get one, at least try it. It is different. Lone Wolf takes the aim assist to 77, double targeting to 85. Then we have Headseeker giving aim assist help too. It is very fun to use. So fun to use because it's extremely consistent. I have mine with ballistics mod, 65 range and stability. Once you get that body and find some crits, it's wild. It's a vacuum. But the drawback is the base .93 TTK. It's a pulse rifle, you're kind of out in the open. You can try to peek shot with it, but you're really relying on flinch and positioning a lot with this thing, because in the end, it feels like 90% of the games, there's at least 2 LC's rifles on the other team. If not, there's always one, and it just eats you alive. Then there's Gravlance, there's Messenger, just eats you alive. And even though this thing is fun and feels great, it's not really keeping up. With all that said, it's a really cool feeling weapon, and I do recommend that you try it if you get the roll. Just fun. But what did a little bit better for me is Lone Wolf Swashbuckler. You get that 85 aim assist, but you can 2 burst after that first kill. And that's where these things really shine, the .6. And every now and again, you get a melee kill. This thing does like 150 a burst with Swashbuckler 5. Pretty good. I mean, there's Desperado. I would actually kind of stay away from that. We have closing time, high impact reserves. That's interesting. Maybe prime it a little bit, get to half mag. You can get to that 10-20 range at the end of the mag, accuracy help, handling help, and the bullets deal more damage. And you can 2 burst at the end. It looks fun. I'm looking for it. But in the end, though, we have the pure dueling of Lone Wolf Headseeker, or Swashbuckler, and a couple things if you like you can try, but being realistic here. I wish that it had Kill Clip. I wish that it had Golden Tricorn. We all know Bygones exists, and like a lot of the rolls, like that Lone Wolf Headseeker roll, Bygones has it too, and it's juiced up. Yeah, it's at a different spot, but I'd use Bygones 100 out of 100 times. Perpetual Motion Kill Clip, high ground rolls, in moment high ground, it's just a busted weapon. This thing struggles to keep up with that. No matter how good your shot is, it just kind of falls behind. Then, of course, there's all the LCs and Gravlances and things that you're facing. And some players are drawn to these 390s. You're going to like it if you are. It's a fun one. But you probably know the overall pack is just a little bit lacking to some other pulse rifles. So have fun with it. Don't expect too much more than that. Ultimately, it is a PvE weapon, and a very good one at that, in my opinion. Jolting feedback is special. Very few weapons have it. This is the only pulse. It's got a great origin trait to go with that. So with all this, I believe that it deserves a spot in your vault to be with you. That's just me, though. I'm glad I got mine, and I will be using it. If you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. Let's talk about Vantage Point down below. I mean, we've had a lot of things come out this season. I'm coming back to this weapon, but it is worth talking about. I'm going to talk about Chroma Rush next, and there's also a build once we get this new activity for PvE that I want to show you guys. It's very, very good, very, very fun. But today's all about Vantage Point. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you find any value here? Let's talk about it. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.